Hi, I'm Rob Cosman. Welcome to my shop. Cutting dovetails with a Moxon vise. It's actually a really good idea. However, there's one problem. We've been working on it. We've solved it. I'm going to share it with you. Stay with me. So if you're not familiar with a Moxon vise, let me tell you a little bit about it. Tell you why it might be the perfect option you're looking for. First of all, it's portable. So when you don't need it, you simply store it underneath your bench. I hold mine in place with two F clamps, one on either side. It's really simple. Just sit that underneath, slip that underneath there and snug it up, and you're ready to go. Probably the single biggest advantage of a Moxon vise, it allows you to clamp the entire width of your board. You can make this as big as you want. Like I said, you can make this as big as you want so that when you clamp that in, the entire board is supported over its entire width, which is nice and rock solid. It's just so much better. The other problem, or the downside to a Moxon vise, is that isn't found in how we transfer tails to pins. I'll show you what I mean. Typically, we take our pin board, put it in the vise, use our plane as a prop, lock that in. Always want to make sure that it's flush with the top of the plane. Set your plane back. Use your tail board to create a bridge. Set that in place and then transfer tails onto pins. Nice and convenient, very easy to do. Holds it securely. How do you do that on a Moxon vise? Well, here's what we've come up with. Now, the way I like to do this, so I don't have to operate two handles, is I usually tick this in and just have it closed at the approximate width of the piece or thickness of the piece. Then I can do everything from this side and just put it in place like that. If I need to, I'll come back and snug this up a little. So here I have a piece that's portable. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my pin board, wrong end, in like so. Drop that down in until this touches. And then lock that on both sides. Now what's nice about this is I know this is now standing plumb. Take that same piece, but I flip this up. It's hinged. Drop that in place, and now I can take my tail board, set it over there, and I create that same bridge I was doing with my hand plane, but now I can do it with my Moxon vise. And go ahead and lay out your joint, or transfer tails to pins, and away you go. When you're not using it, that just pulls apart, drop that down, put those two pins in place, and there it is, nice and convenient. Now, it's easy build. It is an easy build, but I'm going to go through, I'm going to show you exactly how I did it, and hopefully it'll help you. So I'm going to get the bench cleared off and we'll get to work on it. Okay, we had to modify this a little bit. Went to get another Moxon vise, and the distance from the back of the jaw to here is a little bit smaller. So we can't use dowels. We're going to replace it with magnets, but it's all right. It'll work just as well. First thing I'm going to do, I've got a piece. I'm using Baltic birch. If you're going to use plywood, Baltic birch is the nicest stuff of all the plywoods. And I wasn't trying to get anything specific, but the stuff I had is, I end up with 11 5/16. So I've just rough cut a piece, 3.5 inches. And the first thing I want to do is I want to get a complementary angle. So this is a 30-degree angle on the back side. And it's only that, just so that you don't have that sharp square edge like this. It's a little bit of a little smoother, a little easier on the hands. So I'm going to go and I'm going to cut a 60-degree angle on this, but I want to leave a little bit of flat on the bottom. I don't want that coming right to a point. So that's the first thing I'm going to do. Go over the table saw and do that. Okay, so that base has a 30-degree angle on it. And ultimately I want this to be able to sit upright like that, and I want complementary angles. So since the base was cut laying flat, this is a 90-degree angle. I just cut this one standing up with the same 30-degree angles. I like simple math. Now, I don't want it to come to a point, as I mentioned. I want a bit of a flat on there. So also for safety purposes, I want to be able to rest on this. Try to cut your whole angle. You cut it to a point on something like this, it's going to fall down in there, and that's dangerous. So I'm going to start this and see if it's where I want it. Yeah, a little less than that. I'm going to set it right for an 8. Okay, now I can clean that up. We'll go check it and make sure it fits. Okay, so that sits in there at a 90, but I want to drop this down. I forgot I had to do that. I want that point to be at the same state as this point, so I've got to go back there and cut that a little bit more. Okay, that fits nice and clean on the inside. Now I can I'll go ahead and cut a piece of piano hinge and do all of that before I go any further with this, but I also want to get rid of these saw marks, so got my shooting board set up. I can just hold it like this. Same thing on the bottom. Okay, piece of piano hinge needs to be, I'm not going to take it right out to the edge, so I'm going to make it 11 inches and it'll be in about 1/8 of an inch on either side. This is my little hardwood block that'll go on top. Square up an end. And then measure and cut that. Let's use my bench hook so I don't have to go over the saw again. Leave just enough to trim it to fit. Okay, so this is going to go on top. I'll just get a quick shot on there. I don't know why I turned that around. It's a piece of plywood. Habit. So we want this to hang out over.
Hey, if you like this video, we have more. Our newsletter has subscriber-only content, monthly discount on tools, and anything we bring out that's new, subscribers get first crack at it. Click on the link below. Let's get back to work.
Okay, before we do anything more, I want to get this the right height. And so you understand how this works. That cleat's going to go on there. We'll use the cleat. I'm actually going to do it so that you can follow along, and me too. I'll put the clamp on here and hold it in place. So we would have our pin board in here. We would take this, once it's attached, obviously, hold it like that, set that in, lock that in place. Then this is going to go over and sit on top of here. Obviously this will be hinged. And then we're going to lay our tailboard on top like that. So this needs to be, this height and this height need to be the same. So in order to arrive at that, we're going to take the distance from the top of the jaw to the table, because this is actually going to sit right on the table, minus the thickness of this piece, which is going to sit on top of here, which is going to be added to this in order to obtain this height. So if I set this piece right here, use this to extend the extend the top of the vise, hold that like that, and that comes out 3 5/16. So I'll go over and cut this at 3 5/16 from there to here. Okay, let's just check this to make sure. Okay, it sits right. So in order to hold these, well, in order to hold these two pieces together, like I said, we're going to replace dowels with magnets. So we're going to put magnets and cups, because we want it to be fairly strong, on both of these pieces. So we'll get that set up on the drill press. Use a fence with a couple of stops so we line them up perfectly. So we're going to put a magnet and a cup here and here, and here and here. We'll get them exact. And then when this lays down flat, we want this to lay down. It can sit like that, won't be in the way. That doesn't need to be as strong a magnet. I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put 2 screws, one there and one there, to line up with the magnets, just so that it holds it in place. But why wait? So I put a mark 1 inch in from the end, and I'm going to drill these holes. What did you say? How much?
30 seconds.
32nd of an inch deeper than the cup. The cups really increase the strength of the magnet by several times, so may as well use them. Plus they've got a screw hole down through the bottom, so it's an easy way to secure it. Fine. Put a clamp, put a stop in, since we got a drill check. This will just make it easier to get right back to the same spot. Don't have a whole lot of extra room on the sides. That was a lucky guess. Nope. That's... Okay, do the same thing on this one. Okay, so that one's in. Now this one. It's a really tight fit. Hardly even need to use a screw to hold it in place, but I will. That's good, it's just below the surface. Now we got to get the poles lined up properly. So, nope, wrong one, right one. So that goes in like that. Okay. So that'll stay just like that. Now we can go ahead and put this on. And that's just going to be a little bit of glue. And as I mentioned, I'm going to use a little pin nailer just to... that in place. Get it flush. I'll put one opposite. Okay, let that glue set up, just like that. Now we're going to put a couple of screws in here. We may as well do that now. They're just going to be mounted flush. I'll use that's a number 8. And we want those in about an inch, the same spot. It's right about there, so. Actually make it easier, I'll just set it like that. That'll hold. Okay, now to put this in place, I'll find my center. So this is 25 3/4. So half of 25 is 12 1/2, 3/4, another 3/8. So if I'm right, that should be 12 7/8. I'm wrong. Let's do that again. Half of 26 is, let's do it the easy way. Half of 26 is 13. And that's actually 25 3/4. So 13 minus an 8 is 12 7/8. I think I might just look at the wrong mark. 12 7/8. And this is 11 5/16. Not quite so easy. Half of 11 is 5 1/2. Half of 5/16 is 5/32. So it's going to be sitting right about there. So if I'm right, it's a strong 5 5/8. That's good. So we'll line that up right there. Now, put that hinge in place. Same amount on both sides. Right there. So with that in place, I'm going to use a couple of clamps to hold that. Now I can go ahead and do the same thing on these two outside ones. Okay, hold that in position. All right, let's see how that works. That's fine. Pull it up, set that in position. Now let's actually try it out. Let's open this up to that height, width, sorry. Take this piece off. This will be my face. Hold that like so. Set that down in there. Snug that up. Pop this up, drop that on. Take my tail board, my dovetail mark knife, I put my little tape ball in there. Just gotta get rid of some of this fuzz. Put that in position. Now I forgot my Sean shim that I don't have. Okay, my Sean shim 24 thou. Set that in place, move that over. Hold that firmly, move to the left. Move to the left, mark to the right side of each one. That's nice and solid too. Yeah, I like the way this feels. And you would flip it around the other way, move it over like this. Hold that firmly. There you go. Now, use your dovetail marker, and it's still high enough to do that. I hadn't even thought about it, but you can come in here and draw your plumb lines. Put this down so it doesn't get in your way. Board's already plumb. And make your pin cuts. That's perfect. This is great. If you don't want to use magnets, you can use the dowels, but depending on how much room you have back here. Great solution. Good luck with it.
If you enjoy my method of work and like my style of teaching, click on any one of these videos to help take your woodworking to the next level. I've always said better tools make the job so much easier. If you click on the plane and chisel icon below, it'll take you to our site and introduce you to all the tools that we actually manufacture right here in our shop. It'll also give you information on our in-person and online workshops.